And a very good evening to you, Namaskara, and welcome to Times Now's Election Yatra. Today, we're coming to you live from the Sugar Bowl of Karnataka, Mandya, where a bitter battle is playing out for the Vokkaliga supremacy. It's H.D. Kumaraswamy versus D.K. Shivkumar's man here in the constituency. But this is a battle that's one to watch out for, mainly because this could change the politics of the landscape completely. Who is the Vokkaliga leader? How is the politics going to follow after that? A lot of it riding on this battle that's playing out in Mandya. We're going to be speaking to the candidates, telling you the ground situation as well. We also have a cultural performance, as always, lined up for you to show you the local culture of the place. But more importantly, let's speak about the politics that's playing out. What are the key issues that matter to the people when they go to cast their vote? What is it that they're going to be thinking of? Are the caste equations going to be the main issues for the voters in the Mandya constituency? It's a Vokkaliga heartland with over 50% Vokkaligas from the constituency. But across Karnataka, there's a wave of anger that the BJP has been speaking of. And that is the murder of Neha Hiremat by Fayaz. The BJP, in fact, protested today in several places, demanding a CBI probe and saying that the law and order situation in the state is deteriorating. How much of an impact is that going to have on ground? We're going to be talking about that as well. Take a look at the BJP's protest that took place earlier today.
Well, yes, that's right. Over the past 3 days now, we've been seeing protests in this district of Hubli in Karnataka. In fact, even as you're seeing right now, the police having arrested the prime accused here, Fayaz, in concern. The fact is that there is still some anger on ground, whether this is from the opposition or whether this is, for that matter, from, of course, the Karyakartas here. The fact is that protests, in fact, have broken out now. We've seen them going on now for the past 2 days or so. And it's only intensifying. Remember, this is, of course, coming in right now on the 22nd of April, just 4 days before the state of Karnataka's voting, in fact, begins so close on the heels of the election. While we've questioned the BJP and the Congress about this, both of them going on to say that the other is, in fact, politicizing the issue. And as far as, of course, the girl's family over here is concerned, we're seeing that, they have, of course, gone on to demand a CBI probe yesterday. We'll try and quickly speak to a couple of Karyakartas over here. Ma'am, we're seeing today that BJP Karyakartas have hit the streets in protest. You all are demanding action. The Congress government says that they have made the arrest of Fayaz 1 hour after the incident. How are you responding to this?
Congress government in Karnataka is totally supporting the one community people. We all know that they are supporting only one community people. It's just for the vote banking, nothing else. And we want justice for Neha. We want that fellow Fayaz to be hanged, to be dead or left to us. We will show him a way. We will show him when a girl is killed like that, when a Hindu girl is killed like this in such a way, in such a bad way, how she should feel, how the parents should feel, and how we are feeling.
The victim's father has also said that there is a need for a CBI investigation, which shows that he does not have faith in the system. The BJP has said that this shows very clearly that he does not have faith in the system. Listen into the BJP's demand.
In Hubli, there's been a murder of a Hindu girl. The father is saying it's a bigger conspiracy at play and probably the CBI should take up the investigation.
Correct, because he understands the state of law and order in Karnataka. When a Congress corporator, who happens to be the father of the deceased girl, when he's speaking from his heart, he don't trust the agencies here, nor does he trust the government here. So what more can I add to it, sir? He's speaking from his heart, which is the truth. The law and order after Congress has assumed charge has gone to dogs. And this thing the Congress is also shamelessly defending. Victim shaming, character assassinating. Have you seen this kind of governance here, sir?
Now, under pressure from all sides, the Congress government has also handed over the case to the CID while continuing to say that the BJP is politicizing the issue.
ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. ನಾನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನೇಹಾ ಮರ್ಡರ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನು ತೀವ್ರವಾಗಿ ಖಂಡಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಸಿಒಡಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅವರ ತಂದೆ ನೇಹಾ ತಂದೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಇನ್ನೂ 4 ಜನ ಅದನ್ನು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಗೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಆ ಆಂಗಲಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಗೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ತ್ವರಿತವಾಗಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷೆ ಕೊಡಿಸಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಕೋರ್ಟನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ.
So that was the reaction of the Chief Minister saying that the case has been handed over to the CID, but the BJP has made it a poll issue ahead of the elections. Remember, the Prime Minister has also spoken about the Rameshwaram Cafe blast. He has spoken of the deteriorating law and order situation across Karnataka, saying if the Congress party is in power, then you are not safe. Is that the main plank for the BJP? And in Mandya in particular, how's the battle playing out? To discuss all that and more, we have Lakshmi Ashwin Gowda, spokesperson of the BJP, and Congress leader T.R. Prasad Gowda joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Gowda, I want to begin with you first. The blowback that the government is facing over the murder of Neha. The Prime Minister has mentioned the law and order deterioration in the state. We are seeing protests also taking place. So the BJP has made it a poll issue now. Does that put the Congress party on a back foot?
No, not at all. As Prime Minister is always trying to provoke the issues of sentiments of the people, they never go to the polls on the developmental activity, what they have delivered to the people of this country and the state. But as far as this Neha case is concerned, we are very much, our police department is very much on that, and we are keen, and we already nabbed the victim, and we are ready. Even our Minister Santosh Lad already told that if all political parties will come together, have a discussion, and such a person who can do such an act, if we can encounter him in the public, but we need to bring that law into force. We need to discuss in the cabinet.
The issue is not what happens to him after he is caught. The question is there a deterioration of law and order?
No, if there is a deterioration was there in the law and order situation, we wouldn't have catch that victim, that culprit himself. We have already nabbed him. Now he is facing the
But the Congress party is feeling some pressure because we are seeing that the case has now been handed over to the CID.
We don't mind. We don't mind to go to any extent and to protect the people of our state.
Okay.
See, for us, all the people in the country, in the state are same. It is law for the people of this earth and this country is same for everybody. It is not just because he is Muslim.
Okay.
We are and just because.
So why is the BJP picking that up? On ground, Lakshmi Ashwin, is there a sentiment against the BJP that it has to pick up issues like this? Like he says, this is one of the incidents that has happened. We don't have an issue to even hand it over to the CID. The BJP is talking about it because it has nothing else to speak about.
It is most certain that it is most definite fact that our Narendra Modi-led government has delivered on its promises from the past 10 years, and it is so certain that our Honorable Prime Minister is becoming the Prime Minister again with the chest-thumping majority. We don't have any other phobia about of losing the elections or the numbers. We are definitely get 400, the magical number. With chest-thumping majority, we are going to form the government. The thing is, the Siddaramaiah-led Congress government, ever since it came to power, it's always been mired with the controversies. The administrative paralysis in the law and order administration has definitely led to the most unfortunate situations like this. And in the recent past, women has been striped off, and the government hasn't taken the cognizance of the case first. And second one, it has shown the most anemic response. Women's safety has been deteriorated ever since Congress government has come to power. There isn't law and order administration at all. This has led to the most unfortunate incidents like this, and people of Karnataka have definitely come to the conclusion that wherever and wherever Congress government is in power, women are not safe, and the women sex ratio
women are not safe when the Congress party is in power. This comes at a time when the Congress party is banking on the women vote owing to the guarantees that have been introduced by Siddaramaiah.
I will not agree with our BJP spokesperson points, because Siddaramaiah ji government is most promoting and very particular about women's safety and their progress. We have taken our government has taken a lot of measures to improve the social status of the women, and we have through our guarantees, and we have given lot of opportunities for the 1 crore 80 lakhs women are traveling free of cost across the state.
Is the cost for it too much for the people of Karnataka? That's also a question, because the Congress party says that free buses are going to help the women. But is that going to cause a financial crunch? Because your own MLAs are talking about financial crunch.
I'm talking about women's safety, and as well as what are the measures our government has taken to uplift the social justice of a woman. And we are not lagging. We are front, and we are up to the mark. And 2,000 rupees. Yeah, we are our state women are getting 2,000 rupees. Every household women are getting 2,000 rupees to their account to maintain their safety. And
the Congress guarantees have been spoken of. So while the Congress was banking on these guarantees and the women vote coming in their favor, the Neha incident taking place in Hubballi, has it put the Congress party on the back foot? That's the question, because the BJP says that when the Congress party is in power, women are not safe. And we are also shifting our attention to what's happening in Mandya in particular. Remember, in Karnataka, the Congress government in power, but the politics, the entire landscape of the politics here, is it going to change now? In Mandya, we are seeing a big Vokkaliga battle that's playing out. DK Shivkumar's man is a contestant from the BJP. H.D. Kumaraswamy has been fielded from here. How is that going to play out? And does this mean that it's a message to people across Karnataka? The Congress party, remember, has said that the BJP has insulted Vokkaligas, hoping that this would ensure a Vokkaliga backlash for the BJP. Take a look at the big battle that's playing out in Mandya.
The stage is set for second phase of polling for Lok Sabha elections. In Karnataka's Vokkaliga heartland, Mandya will also go to polls on April 26th. The constituency is witnessing a fierce contest with heavyweights in fray. H.D. Kumaraswamy is fighting the polls as a joint candidate of BJP and JDS. In the Vokkaliga-dominated, largely agrarian constituency, H.D. Kumaraswamy is squaring off with Congress's Venkat Raman Gowda, who is popularly known as Star Chandru. Congress is projecting the battle as between an outsider and a local. While Kumaraswamy hails from Hassan district and largely operates from neighbouring Ramanagara, Gowda is from Nagamangala Taluk in Mandya district. In 2019, actor turned politician Sumalata Ambrish, an independent backed by the BJP, won by defeating Kumaraswamy's son and joint Congress-JDS alliance candidate Nikhil by over 1 lakh votes. Though Sumalata sought BJP ticket for re-election, the BJP ceded the seat to the JDS. Sumalata subsequently opted out of elections and joined the BJP. Many are seeing the contest as a litmus test for Kumaraswamy, as the results will show whether his clout over the region and the community is intact or not. Congress, on the other hand, is banking on Siddaramaiah government's guarantee schemes to woo the voters. Bureau Report, Times Now.
So while in Mandya there are large conventions taking place, Kumaraswamy was campaigning here, while the Congress party says the fact that Kumaraswamy is campaigning so much in the scorching heat is proof that he is nervous, that he knows that he is going to be losing from here. We also visited the convention that Kumaraswamy was campaigning in. We spoke to a few of the supporters of the JDS as well. Listen into what they say on the Congress party's guarantees. Take a look at this. The result from the Mandya constituency has the impact of changing the politics in the region for the rest of the years, and that's the reason why this is a battle to watch out for. Kumaraswamy has been fielded from this constituency after Sumalata was dropped. She has officially joined the BJP, but are the sentiments working against the JDS and the BJP? That's the question. It's a Vokkaliga heartland. Over 50% of the electorate here is from the Vokkaliga community. The Congress party has also fielded not just Vokkaliga. DK Shivkumar has also been campaigning extensively for him. He is somebody who is known to be a close aide of DK Shivkumar. Look at the crowd that has gathered around on me. This is for Kumaraswamy's convention that has been organized in Nagamangla. People have started arriving in huge numbers. In fact, all through across the road as well, we saw buses of people coming into the area to welcome Kumaraswamy, the former chief minister from here. Let me also speak to a few people to find out what's the sense on ground. You've come here for the JDS convention. How's the campaign going, and what do you think Kumaraswamy or chances ಹೇಗಿದೆ?
ಕುಮಾರಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಅವರ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾಗಿದೆ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಮಾತಾಡಬಾರ್ದು, ಜನ ನಿಮಗೆ ತೋರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಮೀಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ. ಕುಮಾರಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾದ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾಗಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ಮಂಡ್ಯ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಗೆ ಕ್ಯಾಂಡಿಡೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಂದಿರೋದು ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪುಣ್ಯ. ಬಹುತೇಕ 2 ರಿಂದ 3 ಲಕ್ಷ ಲೀಡರ್ಲಂತೂ ಖಂಡಿತ ಗೆಲ್ಲಿಸ್ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀವಿ ಕುಮಾರಸ್ವಾಮಿ.
Congress, okay, over 3 lakh votes. He says it's going exceptionally well. The crowd speaks for itself, and Kumaraswamy will win with a vote with a margin of over 3 lakh votes. But Sumalata avarna illinda drop ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ. Sumalata has been dropped from here. Will that work against Kumaraswamy?
ಸುಮಲತಾ ಡ್ರಾಪ್ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. ಸುಮಲತಾ ಮತ್ತೆ ಜೆಡಿಎಸ್ ಎರಡು ಒಂದಾಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಕುಮಾರಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಅವಕಾಶ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಸುಮಲತಾ ಕೂಡ ಬೆಂಬಲ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸುಮಲತಾ ಕೂಡ ಏನು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ. ಕುಮಾರಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಬಿಜೆಪಿ ಬೆಂಬಲ ಮತ್ತೆ ಜೆಡಿಎಸ್ ಬೆಂಬಲ ಎರಡು ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಕುಮಾರಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಕುಮಾರಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಕೊಡುಗೆ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ.
So Mandya was once known as the JDS bastion, but currently has only one MLA in the entire Lok Sabha constituency, whereas the Congress party has 6 MLAs here. So have the tides already gone against the JDS? That's the question. The Congress party very, very confident that this time around they will be winning from the constituency. They fielded Star Chandru, the candidate who has been backed by DK Shivkumar. DK Shivkumar himself has also been campaigning extensively here, which is why we also asked HD Kumaraswamy on whether he sees it as a battle between him and DK Shivkumar. We spoke to the Congress candidate Star Chandru, and here's what he said on his chances of winning from the constituency.
ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಬೇಡಿ, ನನಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪಕ್ಷ ನೀವು ಹೆಂಗೆ ವೋಟ್ ಹಾಕಿಸ್ಕೊತೀರಾ, ನೀವು ಗೆಲ್ತೀರಾ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಅವ್ರು ಟಫ್ ಇವ್ರು ಟಫ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಕ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡಿ.
Okay, and lastly, I want to ask you, Darshan last time had campaigned for Sumalata. This time, interestingly, he has campaigned for you. What is the response that you got from the people to have Darshan, who campaigned for Sumalata last time, campaigning for you this time?
ದರ್ಶನ್ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಮೊದಲಿಂದ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರು, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಅಣ್ಣ ನನಗೊಂದು ಕ್ಯಾಂಪೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ. ಆಗಲೇ 1 ಮಂತ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಕೇಳಿದೆ, ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಬಂದು ಕ್ಯಾಂಪೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ನಮ್ದು.
All right, so that's the word on ground. We also have Mr. M. Chidambar joining us on the broadcast. He's the working president of the Congress party in Mandya. Thank you for joining us. Firstly, tell us what is the sense on ground, and has it become a battle of the Vokkaliga supremacy? HD Kumaraswamy from there. We're also seeing DK Shivkumar extensively put in a lot of effort in this constituency. Is this more than just a seat for the Congress party? Is it a prestige battle now?
Yes, it's a prestige battle. Mandya district is agriculture-oriented district, and it is a strong base for the Congress party. Now, in middle, playing Vokkaliga play card, the last election they took 7 MLAs from JDS, but they didn't do any work in the district, and he became the chief minister because of our Mandya support. He also didn't do Kumaraswamy any work. So this election, we won 7 out of 6 MLAs, Congress MLAs in Mandya, and it is a strong base for the Congress. We have confidence the people of Mandya will support Congress candidate.
Okay, but let's take a BJP perspective on that. The fact that Sumalata has been dropped from here, the fact that the BJP and the JDS have never really aligned too well, is that going to work on ground? The sentiment may be against the fact that Sumalata has been dropped from the constituency. Is that something that could turn out to be a challenge for the BJP?
No.
Sentiment that will work out in the length and breadth of a nation, and the length and breadth of the Mandya district is the Modi wave. The Narendra Modi-led BJP government has delivered on promises. From the past 10 years, nation has seen unprecedented development in the field of economy. Economy has seen unprecedented resilience, and our foreign policy has been so much pragmatic and bold, and our national image at the global level has immensely increased. Based on our poll performances, based on our Modi's performances, we are seeking votes in the district of Mandya. And if you come to the the matter of Sumalata or Kumaraswamy, it doesn't matter at all. There isn't factionalism at all. Everybody has unanimously joined hands to make Modi a prime minister. We are seeking this election based on the nation first strategy, national interest, and on the protection and preservation of Sanatana Dharma.
Okay, but when it comes to the seats, do you think it's going to matter to the voters? Do you think that when they're voting, they're going to be thinking, I'm going to make Prime Minister Modi coming back to power? Or do you think in places, in constituencies like Mandya, where there are several local issues, agrarian crisis that we've been speaking of, they'll also think of the local issues, hyper-local issues will also matter?
Of course, there are local issues which do matter. Kumaraswamy, since he is regarded as a people-friendly and farmer-friendly chief minister, when he was the chief minister, he has delivered so much for farmers. He has done so much for the people-friendly, farmer-friendly work. He has done loan waiver in less than 6 months he came to power. People will definitely keep that in the mind and definitely vote him back to power. If it comes to a national, in the wider perspective, they'll see Modi as the leader. If it comes to the local level, they'll definitely bank on Deve Gowda's image rather than life image. He was a former prime minister. He has done extensively and he has raised his voice when it comes to Kaveri issues, irrigation, and when it comes to farmer issues. Kumaraswamy has delivered extensively. People will definitely repose their faith in all of them.
Since you mentioned the Kaveri issue, Mr. Prasad Gowda, is that going to work against the Congress party? Because a lot of residents that we spoke to also said that we can't have the Congress party to power because they are in an alliance with the DMK. They are giving away our water to Tamil Nadu, and the farmers here in the Mandya belt, in the Kaveri belt, are suffering.
Before answering this question, madam, I will answer this question. Definitely I will answer this question. And madam was responding about Kumaraswamy. And I wanted to tell BJP people, before supporting this kind of personality, be careful, because they have the habit of betraying and backstabbing people who are all helped him. And Modi himself was making the statement during the last campaign, 2019 campaign, used to make the statement, this Devodaji family is a private limited company. And there is nobody is left out. That is why they have joined hands with BJP. And why they have joined hands with BJP? Not to save the party. They wanted to save themselves. They wanted to save their family. They wanted to strengthen their family members, and they have the fear of ED or CBI go behind them. Once they got Madam Channamma got the notice from the ED. Next week itself.
Okay, the fear of the central agencies you're saying. How is that going to play out for the BJP? Because the Prime Minister, the BJP in particular, has been speaking of dynasty politics almost everywhere. They call Rahul Gandhi the Shahzada, but the similar digs were also taken for the JDS some time ago, saying that the JDS is a family party. So when you criticize a party like that, how can you now get into an alliance? Will the BJP workers on the ground also back the JDS completely?
We only thought in the larger perspective, in the wider perspective, thinking that to increase the party optics. See, we've Mr. Deve Gowda and Narendra Modi have always shared a very good cordial relationship, and based on that capacity, and he is the most dynamic person when it comes to farmers, when it comes to local issues, when it comes to land, language, and water. He has always been more assertive, and these facts might have enthused Narendra Modi, and at the larger level, in order to increase the party optics, we have taken this decision, not looking at their family politics or dynastic politics. When it comes to delivery, see, Kumaraswamy has also delivered, Deve Gowda has also delivered. This is the need of the hour.
Very quickly, I want to ask him, because for the Congress party as well, it's a very, very personal battle. Like we mentioned, DK Shivkumar is campaigning extensively here. We also have Siddaramaiah concentrating a lot on Mysuru. So is it a battle within the Congress that's playing out? DK Shivkumar, this victory is important because he wants to solidify himself as a Vokkaliga leader for his own chief ministerial aspirations. Same with Siddaramaiah as well in Mysuru.
It is true. DK Shivkumar is the major Vokkaliga leader for our Congress. He will be also. We are seeing as a Chief Minister, he have a hold in Vokkaliga region, DK Shivkumar. I will speak on Kaveri issue. When Deve Gowda ji was the Prime Minister last 10 months in the central when he was a prime minister, he can solve the Kaveri issue. His son H.D. Kumaraswamy was 2 times chief minister. He can solve the Kaveri issue. We are suffering from Kaveri issue in our district, but they are doing only politics. They are crying, but not they are not doing the work.
Madam, adding to his words. See, first of all, this all reverse things will come under the central tribunal.
Okay.
Central tribunal. Then state has no power, and the state has they have made the law such that any state for that matter, whether Karnataka or Tamil Nadu or Kerala or Puducherry, whatever it is, it was run by the central board. So they have made constituted a central board. Through that central board, whatever that central board will order, state has to whether who sits in the government, that doesn't matter, because Madam knows she was in the government. No matter who sits in the government, they have to listen to the central government.
No, but the argument is that the Karnataka government is not putting up a good argument because they are in an alliance with the DMK because they are in an alliance with the DMK in Tamil Nadu.
No, it's not a question of alliance with DMK, madam. We have to listen to the Supreme Court orders. It is the Supreme Court orders.
Okay.
Do you want me to violate the Supreme Court orders?
Okay. Is it a violation of the Supreme Court orders that the BJP expects, that the BJP says that Congress is betraying the farmers of Mandya and the Kaveri belt?
We are here to take care of
whenever...
One second, madam.
Okay.
We are here to take care of our people.
Okay, let's see the BJP's response on that.
Of land, language and water has erupted. The Congress government hasn't dealt with them with so much alacrity. It has shown lacklustrous performances that when it comes to land, like when it comes to language, they have not stood behind the Kannadigas. When it comes to water, they were not busy saving Kaveri water. They've left the Kaveri water. See, they've done Nanna Neeru, Nanna Hakku Padayatra, and they dedicated entirely to M.K. Stalin. They have done very less to the Bengaluru people. They have done very less justice to the Karnataka people. Whenever it is the languages, language and water issues have erupted, they were busy saving that Indie Bloc alliance. That is the most fractured one. That is the most myopic one. That is the most hollow one. It consists of the two divisive mindset. It consists of
So Kaveri issue, you're saying that the people are aware that there is a Supreme Court issue. I want to ask in Mandya in particular, because we are speaking of the Vokkaliga belt, I want to ask you, within the Congress party, is there too much of a power struggle within? Like we mentioned, Siddaramaiah has been campaigning largely around Mysore. Is it because he needs to prove himself within the Congress party? Same with D.K. Shivkumar as well. In these areas where Vokkaliga dominated areas, D.K. Shivkumar is concentrating largely in these areas.
Madam, I will clear it. There is no power struggle. Congress is intact. Congress, we are one. Like we are one. Whether Siddaramaiah or D.K. Shivkumar, there is no fight. There is no fight for power. We are all in, apart from that, India is intact. Our India is intact. If Mandya wins, India will win. And Rahul Gandhi will become the Prime Minister of this country. Mandya will going to win.
The Times Now election Yatra has visited Kerala as well. But where is the India alliance? You say that there is an India alliance. In the left there, you have Ani Raja fighting against Rahul Gandhi, making it tough for him to win even from his own constituency.
There may be small hitch-ups will be there, madam. But at the largest perspective, we are all one. We are all fighting together. And what's happening in Delhi, what's happening in Punjab, Haryana, sitting Kejriwal is in the jail. But all our seats are going to win. Now the people understand how the BJP...
So the big leaders are still in jail. Kejriwal is in jail. You're saying that H.D. Kumaraswamy, Deve Gowda have decided to come with the BJP because there's a fear that the opposition is constantly living in that we may be jailed.
They came to BJP party mainly looking at the party optics, the way the party has delivered from the past 10 years, ever since the party came to power, the way the party has changed the political landscape in the India itself, the way the party has changed the global image in the global forums, the way the party has handled the economical resilience, the way the party has handled the Indian economy amidst the global uncertainties and Russia-Ukraine war, let it be American economical downturn or Euro crisis. the way we have handled the economy, the way we have taken the societal issues, the way we have handled the national security and internal security and our relations with the neighborhood countries, that might have enthused them to join the party. To join the hands, it is the need of the heart.
Chief Minister in jail. Delhi Chief Minister is in jail. They are disturbing whole democracy. They want to cut all people's. All people's voice. They people's voice.
Those who have laundered the money,
now they are telling.
Okay, all right. One at a time. I want to ask.
They are against the democracy.
Okay.
They do not want this democracy
If
to
a
be
person
continued.
is becoming
He
Prime
become the Prime Minister of this
for the
country
third time,
because
it's
of this
complete
democracy
majority.
only.
Okay, all right. So this is a fight for democracy is what you're saying. Okay, in 2019 elections, the BJP had performed really well in Karnataka. What are the numbers that you're giving for the BJP and the BJP JDS combined and the Congress this time around?
This time we'll win 15 to 20 seats in Karnataka. It is sure. We will win 15 to 20.
And what is the reason for it?
Reason we are practical. We have given the 5 guarantees. Election before we told we ensure we'll give the 5 guarantee. Now 60,000 crores. It is in budget for this program. So the people are very happy in this guarantee.
People are happy because of the guarantees in Modi's guarantee versus Siddaramaia's guarantee. What is the number that you're giving for the BJP and for the Congress?
See, madam, the implementation of the guarantees promised by the Congress government before the poll itself is not a criteria. This itself will not usher in the development in the state of Karnataka. There are many more criteria, like they have failed in handling the law and order. They have totally administrative paralysis. They have shown enormous lethargy and inertia when it comes to the development.
What is the number that you're giving?
When it comes to the communal violences. When we are winning 28 of 28,
28 out of 28. Okay, what is the number that you're giving for the BJP?
Congress will win more than 20 seats in the state of Karnataka. Apart from that, Madam made some statements that, Madam may not be knowing about this. We have taken up a developmental activity around 70 kilometers.
But your own MLAs are saying that we don't have funds for development.
We have been giving to all the MLAs. All MLAs
then
are
why
happy.
are the MLAs saying this?
We are providing all grants. Everybody we are giving. And one more thing I wanted to mention before through you to the country. We have taken up the developmental activities. Tender is floated for Bangalore Peripheral Ring Road. Is 35,000 crores of work under the able leadership of D.K. Shivakumar. And that work is started. The work is started. Tender is float. Now after these elections, they are giving the order to the company, and the 35,000 crore work is started.
All right. So is it going to be development versus development? So in Karnataka, in Mandya as well, on the ground as well, it's going to be Modi's guarantee versus Siddaramaia's guarantee, development promised by the Prime Minister versus development promised by the Congress government, and of course the BJP saying that the Congress government here ensures that people are not safe, while the Congress says the BJP injects communal politics into everything. Lot more to speak about. We'll also speak to the BJP's Mysore candidate, the royal family scion as well. He had a message for the Chief Minister, Siddaramaiya, as Siddaramaiya gets into this prestige battle in his home constituency of Mysuru. What is the message that he had for the Chief Minister, and a lot more on the other side of this very quick break. The pulse of South India beats louder than ever. As winds of change sweeps the entire area, a journey begins to capture the voice of the people. What is it that matters to the people here? What are the issues that are key to their hearts? And who do they choose to lead their destiny? That's the question. Experience the diversity and the drama on the ground. Each election episode brings you closer to the pulse of the people and takes you to the heart of the election fever. When it comes to the spirit of democracy, every voice matters, and that's what we aim to bring on Times Now. Catch Times Now's special election yatra at 5 p.m. every day. In the royal battle that's playing out in Mysuru, the BJP's candidate is the Mysore royal family scion, Yaduveer Krishnadatta Chamaraja Wodeyar, who's joining us live today. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to begin by, of course, talking about the palace that's right behind us, the beautiful Mysuru palace. That's where we're at. I want to first ask you, how is your campaign going?
Welcome to Mysore, and wonderful to be talking to you. Campaign is going very well as of today. We were in our Chamundeshwari assembly segment, and we will be going there shortly, soon after we finish your interview as well. It's going quite well.
Okay, so, tell us a little bit about how this foray into politics happened, because we know that before the 2019 elections as well, Amit Shah had met you and the Rajmata. This time around as well, the Prime Minister has met you. So has there been a consistent effort? Was there a thought in your head as well that maybe I should foray into politics?
Well, I'm a firm believer of not jumping into the deep end as soon as you get the chance. You have to gradually get there. And so it's been a matter of 9 years since I got adopted to semi-public life, and then getting into more social institutions, more social causes, really getting into social service in a big way. And then now the biggest social service you can do is obviously being people's representative itself. So I've gradually reached there, and this felt like the right time, and I'm ready for the deep end.
Okay, and your family has been associated with politics before, but that was with the Congress party. Was BJP a natural choice for you, or did you think a little bit before thinking this is going to be a big change for me?
No, the party, I think, has to be aligned with the individual, and each individual has their own unique insights and aspirations. I think I'm best aligned with the Bharatiya Janata Party from day one pretty much, and so it was a natural fit for me, and I knew if I ever considered political life, it would be with the BJP.
Okay. In fact, we moved around here, we spoke to a lot of people, and they spoke about the goodwill that the Wodeyar family has. A lot of them saying every development that you're seeing in Mysuru is from the Wodeyar family. That emotional attachment that you have, that has also turned against you, or at least the Congress would want it to turn against you, because they say that this is a Raja versus Samanya Praja battle. What would you respond to that?
Within the current context, India's constitution and before the law, we are all common citizens. The same facilities are available to the other candidates as to me. Furthermore, I think the Congress has as deep a legacy in India behind them as we do in the palace here in Mysore, and the BJP as well. So I think all those things, when weighed together, make it pretty much a fair playing field. I think furthermore, the bond that the people share, that is the old Mysore region and Karnataka itself with the palace, is purely because of principles of leadership that my forefathers saw and forefathers were able to follow during their time of rule of this area. Was what people look up to more so than any other aspects of kingship or royalty or anything. I think beyond the aspects of monarchy and democracy, etc., the rules that govern leadership are the same, and as long as you're principled in your approach, you can be successful in whichever system.
Okay, so welfare that your family is known for, that's what is going to be carried forward when you become an elected representative. But this dig has not just come from the Congress party. The sitting MP from here, Pratap Simha as well, initially when he was dropped and your name had been proposed, it didn't seem like he took it too well. He said that he's a king. How is anybody going to go to him? How will he come into common life? Is that a big challenge, the fact that a strong leader from the BJP made the statement about you, because of which people may have that hesitation?
Well, I think if certainly that perception is there, it has changed over the last month. And certainly over 9 years, the people of Mysore have seen me move around, be part of public life, and be very easily accessible. It's as easy for me to come out of the house as anybody else. It is, yes, a literal palace. Nobody's hiding that. And nobody's hiding the legacy as well behind me. But at the same time, it's as easy for me to be as accessible as anybody else. Beyond the walls of this palace complex, we are ordinary citizens like anybody else. Our house is a little bigger.
Okay, so I want to ask you, there's a very interesting image. I'm sure all of you also know that when the Prime Minister's rally took place here, it seemed like you were also giving out a message as you were cleaning up after that rally as well. It seemed to be while the digs are taken at you, you're no common citizen. Was it a message that you were giving to someone that, I'm as common as everybody else, I'm a Karyakarta of the BJP?
No, I have no need to prove my commonness or lack thereof to anybody else. I was a Swachh Bharat ambassador in 2015 and 2016 alongside my mother. We have done various cleaning drives on the beaches in India, in Mysore, in lakes around Mysore, in Bangalore as well. And I will continue to do that. Obviously, in a political role, it has a much more larger effect. That we can have a greater team of people and execute at a much higher level. And certainly that is something we're going to take forward. It is not at all a reaction to current narratives that may be floating around.
Okay. So because Pratap Simha has also Vokkaliga, even if you don't see it that way, in politics, caste equations also are very important. The Congress party has also fielded a Vokkaliga leader. Is that a challenge for you at all? Do you see it that way?
No, I don't see it as a challenge. I think we have to work towards building a society that looks towards the country first. There are unique heritages, unique cultural traditions within various communities. There are certainly also unique histories to them, and we should take pride in that, certainly. But while considering what's good for the country, we should vote as one and certainly consider the aptitude of the candidate over our community lines.
Okay. And when we speak of the Chief Minister, this is his home constituency. We are told that more than any other place, the Chief Minister is concentrating a lot in the Mysuru region. He has campaigned more than ever here. Almost every 2 days he has been campaigning here. He's been saying that a victory for the candidate is a victory for me. Do you think that the Chief Minister has put in his personal efforts? It's a very personal battle for him.
Well, all of our party leaders take every seat personally, but end of the day, this is one seat like any other seat. Prestige and all that is value we add on it ourselves. I think they are focused on their narrative, and we do the same for ourselves.
But he has been campaigning extensively, and I want to go back a little bit about the legal dispute that's currently ongoing. Is that the reason why you also take it very personally? Because when Siddaramaiah government was previously here is when the battle took a very bitter turn. Now Siddaramaiah is the Chief Minister again. Is there always that worry or perhaps a little bit of an apprehension when you become an elected representative, these legal disputes, what's going to happen?
The legal system runs parallel. There is no influence a member of parliament can have over it. The courts will decide the outcome, and those will be implemented along the legal system. As for our own involvement in this is purely it is personal in the sense we want to serve the people of Mysore. So certainly we take it as a matter of pride. If being elected to represent the people of Mysore will certainly be a matter of pride for us. And in that sense it is personal, but not to do with any of our family assets or cases that may be there.
Okay, so the Chief Minister and the legal battle, that's not going to be playing out in your mind or in the minds of the people. It's not something that you think of, that this is the person who had a legal dispute with us here. So I have to ensure that I also give out a message.
Have a legal dispute with us. The government of Karnataka has a legal dispute with us. That will play out in the court as it should in the current system that we have. And we have full faith in the justice system.
Okay. In fact, he also, we're told, has specifically told all Congress leaders to not make any personal statements against the royal family because he knows the goodwill that you have here. But Tipu Sultan, I just want to ask your thoughts on that. Tipu Sultan is a very, very contentious issue in Karnataka, and Chief Minister has brought in the Tipu celebrations as well. The BJP has opposed it. What are your thoughts?
Well, certainly it's questionable when you bring in a leader who has committed atrocities across the board, from his own Srirangpatna all the way to Melkote, the multiple Mandi Mayangars who suffered tremendously, along with the people of Coorg who, if chosen, I'll be representing as well, have suffered tremendously under his rule. So have the people along the Malabar coast as well. So when bringing all of those things to light, it is certainly something you want to ponder as to why you choose such a historic personality to celebrate. That given, obviously, being an elected representative of all people, you should be certainly considerate of everyone's sentiments.
Okay. And the Wadiyars, like we mentioned, the development that they have done here, would you want to speak a little bit about what it means for Mysore? Because this is your home. The family members have done so much here. In fact, there's always a comparison between Bangalore and Mysuru as well. And they say that Mysore is much better developed, has been much more well planned. So what was the thought process behind it? And when you have to tell the people what the Kings have done here for the people.
Bangalore was part of Mysore state as well. Just that, of course, modern times have enveloped whatever happened in those days, and the growth there has been rather haphazard, and so unplanned in many ways. Mysore has withstood that over the test of time. Certainly some of it is due to the good leadership in ensuring that the capital had wide roads, etc., and good layout and city planning. I think our development focus will be going on already the strong points of Mysore and Kodagu. Both districts uniquely have a huge dependency on agriculture and tourism, and while there are unique heritages to both, this aspect of it from an industry perspective needs to be given the biggest push in order to move forward. We've already outlined the heritage corridor that the Prime Minister said in his speech when he was here in Mysore, Hampi, Badami, and then Mysore. And I think Mysore further is a conduit to Coorg, the jungles all around us, and then further hill stations down south. So certainly in that manner, and being a cultural hub itself will be our main aim towards developing. The other two sectors, primarily within the Mysore region, and some of it certainly in Coorg, is industry and IT. And those will have to be looked at organically. There's already an industry base, but that needs to be furthered. I think a lot more opportunities are there to get in sustainable players here. IT as a supporting pillar to Bangalore. We have tremendous opportunities given the fact that Bangalore is pretty much oversaturated. The amount of IT now and different sectors of it, certainly we can pull certain aspects of that and aid in Bangalore's effort towards being a greater IT hub than it already is, and have things that fit in here organically, such as food tech, agri-tech, hospitality, and certainly cybersecurity as well.
All right. As we come to the end of this, to the people of Mysuru, what do you promise in terms of welfare? You've spoken about the IT sector coming in, a lot of development work that you're doing. Is that a message that you want to say perhaps in Kannada to the people of Mysuru Kodagu constituency?
ನಮ್ಮ ಮೈಸೂರು ಹಾಗೂ ಕೊಡಗು ಜನಾಂಗಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋ ಹಾಗೆ 9 ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಧಾರ್ಮಿಕ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅನೇಕ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಭಾಗಿಯಾಗಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ನಾನೇ ಚಿರಋಣಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಆ ಋಣವನ್ನು ತೀರಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಒಂದು ಅವಕಾಶ ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ಮನವಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಸಹಕಾರದೊಂದಿಗೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠ ಮೈಸೂರು ಕೊಡಗು ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡೋಣ, ಅದರೊಂದಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠ ಭಾರತವನ್ನು ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂತ.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, and all the best to you in the constituency as you go around your campaign and for the Lok Sabha elections. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.